Africa is the second largest continent on Earth. It is approximately 11.7 million square miles. Sudan is its largest country. Africa covers 6% of Earth's total surface and 20.4% of the total land area. Africa straddles on the equator and is the only continent to extend from the northern temperate zone to the southern temperate zone. Africa is the hottest continent on Earth. It contains both the world's largest desert, the Sahara, and the world's longest river, the Nile. The continent is also home to the Victoria Falls, considered as one of the natural wonders of the world.
A really important part of the African culture is its flora and fauna, because Africa's landscape is one of the most diverse in the world. The world's largest land animal is the African elephant. The world's tallest animal, the giraffe, and the fastest land animal in the world, the cheetah, live in Africa. Africa is home to the world's largest reptile, the Nile crocodile. The gorilla, which can be found in the continent jungles, is the world's largest primate. Africa's seas, rivers, and lakes are rich in fish and marine life. Africa's flora is dedicated by local climate, and its natural vegetation is very varied.
Ethnic groups in Africa each generally have its own language and culture. In Central Africa, Luba, in the Democratic Republic of Congo, are over 50 million people. In the Horn of Africa, Oromo in Ethiopia are over 30 million people. In North Africa, Egyptians in Egypt are over 91 million people. In Southern Africa, in Shona, in Zimbabwe and Mozambique are over 50 million people. And in West Africa, Yoruba in Nigeria, Ivory Coast and Sierra Leone are over 40 million people. The official population count of the various ethnic groups in Africa has been questionable because certain groups believe populations are fixed to give other ethnicities numerical dominance.
There are an estimate of 2,000 languages spoken in Africa. According to the American linguist Joseph Greenberg, they fall into 6 major linguistic families that are the Afroasiatic that stretches from North Africa to the Horn of Africa and Southwest Asia, the Nilo-Saharan that is centered on Sudan and Chad, the Niger-Congo that covers West Central and Southeast Africa, Co that is co-centered in the deserts of Namibia and Botswana, Austronesian on Madagascar, and Indo-European on the southern tip of the continent. There are individual languages such as Berber, Arabic, Igbo, Swahili, Hausa, and Yoruba that are spoken by 10 millions of people. In addition, Africa has a wide variety of sign languages.
African culture is incredibly interesting because it's so diverse. Every African country is a mix of tribes and ethnicities, each with their own unique language and culture. Countries as small as Uganda have more than 30 tribes. Some of the most interesting traditions in the African culture are kidnapping the bride, spitting as a way of blessing, putting a price on the bride. Sons are raised by their uncles when they reach age 5 or 6, treat animals as a clan member. And in the Sorma tribe, when a girl becomes teenager, she begins the process of lip stretching.
The scramble for Africa in the late 19th century, European powers divided Africa and its resources into political partitions at the Berlin Conference. By 1905, African soil was almost completely controlled by European governments. Britain and France had the largest holdings, but Germany, Spain, Italy, Belgium, and Portugal also had colonies. As a result of colonialism and imperialism, Africa suffered long-term effects. The decolonization of Africa happened after World War II, when colonized regions wanted their independence and colonial powers were removed. The first countries to be independent was the Republic of Liberia in 1874 and the Union of South Africa in 1910, and the last country to get its independence was in 2011.
Religion has always been central to people's lives in Africa. 40% of the African population are Christians, 27% of the populations are Muslims. Traditional religions have endured. They represent 10% of Africa's population. Other less popular religions in Africa are Hinduism, Baha'i faith, atheism, Buddhism, and Judaism. The African Union is a 54-member federation consisting of all Africa states except Morocco. The union was formed with Addis Ababa in Ethiopia on June 2001 and was officially established the next year. There is a policy in effect to decentralize the African Federation's institution so that they are shared by all states. The African Union has a parliamentary government, known as the African Union Government, consisting of legislative, judicial, and executive organs. It is led by the African Union President and Head of State. The government of the African Union consists of an all-union, regional, state, and municipal authorities, as well as hundreds of institutions that together manage the day-to-day affairs of the institution. Political associations such as the African Union offer hope for greater cooperation and peace between the continent's many countries.
The Libyan dinar is the strongest currency in Africa, with a value of 8.53. Right below is the Tunisia, at a value of 6.65. The Ghanaian cedi follows with a value of 3.79. The main components of Africa's economy are trade, industry, agriculture, and human resources of the continent. Africa is a resource-rich continent, but despite that, many people live in extreme poorness. The list of the strongest developing economies of Africa includes ones from Nigeria, Egypt, South Africa, and Algeria. The poorest countries of Africa are Zimbabwe, Zambia, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. There has been a fast progress that narrows the gap between rich and poor countries. However, not all countries have gone through that development in economy. Countries in sub-Saharan Africa have progressed slowly, mostly due to lack of investments on covering basic needs and epidemics such as HIV. South Africa has an emerging market economy built primarily around the tertiary or service sector. South Africa has developed the second largest economy in Africa, and it is responsible for nearly a quarter of the GDP of the continent. South Africa's main trade partners include the United States, Germany, China, Japan, and India.
Primary school enrollment in African countries is among the lowest in the world. 33 million primary school-aged children in sub-Saharan Africa do not go to school. 18 million of these children are girls. In sub-Saharan Africa, only 2/3 of children who start primary school reach the final grade. In sub-Saharan Africa, 10 million children drop out of primary school every year.